depending on your situation today, whether you're comfy at home and you're in your jammies, or whether you're officially back at work at the office, no matter where you are, this practice is for us. But if you have the ability, we'll take a slide on back or over, wherever it's comfy, to find a meditative spot that's conducive to you feeling comfortable enough to stay for a while. So I don't make it fancy. I literally pulled a pillow off of my couch and I sit right down in a cross-legged position on that. If you're staying in a desk chair or any chair of sorts, I really like to use the chair. So I'll pull myself to the back of it and use the back of the chair to support my spine. Sitting in the middle of the floor can get uncomfortable. It can get tiresome for our backs if we're not used to practice. They're short bursts. And if you get uncomfortable seated in the center of a space, feel free to get up, readjust, or come find a chair or a wall. Now, normally, we start our practices with a little bit of movement. Today's beginning is a bit different. So we're going to stretch our wrists and then do a little active face and scalp work to relax us before we start our guided meditation. I hope you enjoy. Let's bring our hands in a clasp to begin, right in front of our hearts, and then we'll just flip the palms forward and stretch open. Soften elbows as you spread your shoulder blades and begin to stretch your wrists. Flip the beginning of your hands, the top of your hands, the knuckles towards me, and tuck your chin a little towards your chest to feel a rounding sensation in the back of your neck and an opening in your back body. Let your hands come back towards your heart, sitting up tall, and take a little figure 8 movement through your wrists to loosen them up from your day. Maybe go the other way if that's available to you. Sometimes that can be a real brain buster. Just do what feels good. And lastly, for the wrists, we'll bring the backs of our hands together, fingers down. Just give a little tick-tock here, fingers pushing and pulling away from body, really loosening up the wrists. I like to really push here. Push into the back of your hands. Feel that stretch coming over the top of your wrists. And then let's bring like a stop sign hand forward, and we'll just gently pull the fingers back, opening into the inner wrist and your forearm. Opposite hand, same thing, a gentle little pull back for your wrist and hand. Now, if there's something else you need for your hands or wrists, please do that. I like to wiggle my fingers a little here and there. After we've gotten wrists loosened, we're taking our palms and we're rubbing them together, hoping to generate some heat. I love to do this little eye meditation here and there, especially if you ever find that you get headaches or you have eye strain. This is a really nice way to decompress, destimulate, if that's a word, just trying to shut down everything we're bombarded with from our vision all day, every day. When you feel that buzz in between your palms, it feels a little warmer. We're cupping them over our eyeballs. So our heel of hands will be about cheekbones, and our fingers are somewhere around the eyebrows or forehead. We're going to let that heat that we've generated seep deep into the eye sockets. I have my eyes closed, but either way, you should have a darkness like you've drawn a shade over your eyes. And just allow your eyes to absorb that darkness, the sense of coming home and settling in. Let them drop heavily back into their sockets. And allowing this to wash over not just our eyes, but our brains, our bodies, this sense of stillness, of coming home, settling within our bodies and minds. Allow the hands to fall again. You can keep your eyes closed if that feels good. We're taking our fingers to the back of our neck. I like to tuck my chin down here and just gently massaging with the fingertips, kind of like you would play a piano, like each finger moving individually, just palpating over the back of your neck here, moving a little to the sides, moving gently, up and down, left and right, maybe all the way down between your shoulder blades. And then cradle your scalp. I like to hold the back of the scalp. And then you have your thumbs. They feel like goalposts. are heading down towards the shoulders, but they're on the sides of your neck. Use your thumbs here for gentle circles on your neck, wherever they can touch. I like to move a little here and there. It's really good if you get that pressure point right behind your ears. Feels good to me. Whatever feels good to you is what we do. And we'll switch those thumbs circling directions. Staying as long as you'd like in any of these face and skull releasing exercises. But when you're ready, we'll move from the thumb circling to use our fingertips. And there's no rhyme or reason to this, but we're tapping our skull. I like to go alternating hands so that mine land like one then the other rather than at the same time. This tapping can really awaken our energy body, help us release tension. We want to try to get all over. The hands can work individually here. Just a gentle tap covering all areas of our skull. Soften your jaw, relax your eyes. And when you've done that for a few breaths, we'll take 2 fingers to each temple and massage those same circles we did on the back of our neck, the sides of our neck. We'll massage those here. Switching directions for your circling. And then I like to take my actual finger, not just my fingertips, but my actual fingers. I use the inner finger and rub from the center of your forehead out. Or you can use the base of your thumb. But we want to think about those lines of focus and concentration across our forehead. And we're using our hands here like an eraser. Rubbing over to release. Get your eyebrows. That feels really good. And then you'll probably have to soften, but doing under the eye socket feels good. And I go back up over the eyebrows and the forehead. Like to do the bridge of my nose with each finger that I'm using. And then down your cheeks, maybe rub along your jaw with whichever finger feels really good. If you find some tightness, you can just settle there for a moment. And then allowing, when you're done with that, whenever it feels like it's enough, allowing your hands to fall, gently wiggling your fingers, rolling your shoulders back and down, settling arms somewhere heavy and steady for the practice, even giving your toes a little wiggle as we settle in. So now that we're done with the active part, we're taking this time to settle ourselves into a deliberate place. Somewhere that our body feels it has this beautiful alignment through our spines. We're mentally preparing ourselves for relaxation, centering, spreading as much of ourselves equally from side to side into the supports beneath us. A little tuck of our chins down so that they're parallel towards the floor. We'll lengthen the backs of our neck, increasing our spinal integrity. Taking a breath in and considering wrapping yourself on this in-breath like you're in a big cocoon, a big hug of love and compassion. Exhaling deeply. Just listening gently into your breath. And after we take those first couple of intentional, really purposeful breaths, let's release control and just try to find a slow, calm, subtle breath. Noticing, energizing in a sense of lightness, perhaps coming in as we inhale. And can you sense a bit of heaviness, a feeling of sinking more deeply into your supports, or maybe your feet heavy into the floor each time you exhale? Letting our attention linger here, resting it on our breath. It's such a constant companion, but one that we are not often aware until we take the time to slow down and connect to it. This practice of checking in, cultivating a strong, consistent quality breath is one that we can come back to time and time again. The more we practice our long Wednesday practices together, the easier it is for us to refine what we need. That sense of release, sense of connection, of coming back within our bodies. When things get a little too frantic, rushed, chaotic in our lives, we drop back into our breath. To help us feel hopefully happy and alive and grateful today, let's bring to mind a pleasurable experience that you've recently had. And this can be anything. I'll just give you some examples if you don't feel like thinking of one on your own. Let's say you had a really wonderful meal lately. Or maybe it was a long time ago and you're just like remembering that special meal, how good it was not to cook for yourself, how delicious it tasted or smelled or looked in presentation. Perhaps it was something so much simpler like your ritualistic cup of coffee or tea, or maybe warm water with lemon, whatever you love to have at the same time every day. Perhaps you caught a sunrise or a sunset recently, or a rainbow. We've been having a lot of rain. That's been a nice silver lining from the rainfall. And of course, it can be something really constant in your life and amazing, like a loved one or a beloved pet, someone who's really excited to see you or greet you. So anything in our life that we feel especially grateful for, let's conjure that up right now. Just rest here and see what comes to mind. What visuals are you having? And when you do bring this memory to mind, this image, this experience back into your being, are there other things that accompany it? Can you smell something? Can you taste something? If it's more of a feeling, do you get warm and fuzzy? Or do you feel a little tingly or light and happy and joyful? What are you experiencing? Is it possible, since we're envisioning something pleasurable in our lives, to feel like we could fill ourselves up with our experience in this moment? And my friends, if there's nothing coming to your mind right now, that is valid and true as well. So let's instead use the gratefulness that we have designated time for this practice. We all have something to focus on. Giving yourself the gift of time. As we sit with this recollection or this sense of gratitude, notice how what you're experiencing may change. You begin to focus your awareness more on sensations, physical, mental, or emotional reactions. What the interplay between all of these things that are happening is. Are you able to create some space in your body as you breathe in? And allow those feel-good emotions, sensations to sink, to seep more deeply all the way to the cells of our body, to our bones, to our core. Focus on bringing this sense of positivity, joy, and happiness into your foreground. Returning our attention to the feeling, the sensations of our breath. And let's radiate joy from our recaptured experience. Try to breathe that into every single cell of our bodies. Feeling really, really good, I hope. Feeling grateful and proud about the quality of rest and rejuvenation you're giving yourself right now as you take time to be still, become present, and breathe. We may have reflected on blessings that we have in our lives currently, or maybe how far we've come. And as we're progressing through our meditation, sometimes we get antsy or other thoughts that are really important tend to creep in. That's okay. No criticism or judgment. We'll just try to gently guide ourselves back to our breath, exploring sensations in each area of your body with a warm and gentle sense of curiosity. Feeling touch or pressure, perhaps your hands are resting on your body somewhere that we can notice that, or whatever your body is lying or sitting against, whatever your feet or ankles are touching, notice those areas. These are just little tricks to keep us present, to encourage us to slow down and be content as is. Nowhere else to be. Notice temperature in everything you just checked in with. Usually things that are unclosed or away from another part of our body feel a bit cooler. Covered areas, areas resting upon one another may feel cozy and warm. You might also notice that temperature with your breath. Can you notice the inhalation, how it's quite cool, and how the exhalation has a warmer quality to it. Simply noticing whatever is here and where you are. Is it possible for you to settle into your heartbeat? Can you touch base with that natural rhythm of your body? Softening your body, opening your mind to the infinite possibilities that this practice can bring. Releasing control over our breath, but in doing so, developing a sense of presence to it. Each time you become aware of what's happening as we're still, it's a valuable acknowledgement of presence and noticing. Whatever arises, there's nothing that needs to be fixed. We have no particular goals that we're trying to achieve here. We're allowing what happens to happen. We're bringing this quality of kindness that we very much deserve to ourselves, encouraging ourselves to reconnect as an anchor to your here and now. Simply tuning inward. Whatever your experience is, and approaching it with an attitude of curiosity and inquiry. I don't know about you, but in my life, it's very rare that I have the time to sit and be. So I treasure these practices when we sit together and encourage one another to become our best selves. What a gift it is to notice all these beautiful things that are happening 24/7 without us ever asking our bodies to do it or really being aware of it. Like our heart is beating 24/7, sending nutrients, oxygen, blood throughout our bodies. Isn't that amazing? So I love to slow down and be grateful for that. Same with the breath. Thank goodness we have this gift of breath for another day. Follow it, witness it, the rise and fall of the breath in your body. Could you notice how your chest might move? Maybe the divot in your throat feels as if it's moving, or your ribs feel that they're moving. Maybe even your belly and your low back are filling and releasing with this miracle of breath. Just letting it float naturally for one more breath. And then we'll pick it back up and see if we can gently, like you would a small child, guide your breath a bit more deeply. How far can you extend it? I like to think about slowing down as opposed to extending it quickly. So much easier to get a beautiful quality breath if we slow it down. Can it reach the tips of your toes, tips of your fingers, crown of your head? How deeply can you breathe within your muscles, tendons, and ligaments? You breathe fully around each body part, smoothing the edges of your breath so it feels totally effortless as it's flowing. And while we're connecting with breath, if those thoughts are creeping in, remember that's normal. And the act of noticing is what you should be really proud of. So when we observe those, we just send them back out, just like a cloud in the sky passing through. It's here for a moment and then it's gone. We are not our thoughts, so we don't have to attach to them. We don't have to connect even enough to build a storyline. Just observe from your place of stillness. Just be and reconnect to your breath. Remaining unattached, enjoying fleeting moments of stillness that we have in our lives. When we practice on Wednesdays, we get a really nice long practice time, but that's not what you have to commit to every day. Even if you can say, I'm going to breathe 3 times purposefully, stay still, watch my breath, feel my body, check in. That's a wonderful practice. Trying to commit to small, manageable moments regularly. That's what builds up a really beautiful habit. Something that feels like you're not really whole without. Like, I need to take the time to settle before I move through my day today. In that way, can you envision yourself at your absolute best, pure bliss, your happiest? This is your true nature and who you deserve to be. There's nothing you need to do, to get, to obtain, to accomplish in order to deserve that. Right here, right now, for every second of your life, you deserve to be at your best, blissful and happy. Let's set an intention together today that we'll try to check in with ourselves for a minimum of 3 breaths every day. Release ourselves from busyness, pull away from work, stress, overwhelm, and instead come back gently and calmly after reinvigorating with a breath connection. One more for today. Breathe in. Sigh out. May you live your intention for your best life today. Float your eyes open again, blink slowly. Bring hands to prayer at heart center, or just covering your heart in a bow that you so very much deserve, in gratitude for the time you took to practice today. I bow to you in gratitude for keeping this community alive. Thank you for helping me practice. Namaste. My light honors yours. Take good care, my friends.